have Malcolm Hogan here from Automotive Addicts. What do we have with you today, Malcolm?
Yeah, today checking out the 2018 Lexus LC 500. Pretty impressive as far as a design standpoint. You know, I'm having driven so many different cars. You know, this is one that my neighbors will come over and bug me about because it's, you know, just so stunningly beautiful. I mean, in the eyes of some people, you might think it's a beautiful car. Some think it's a little outlandish, but I think it's amazing. I mean, as far as the concept car, what the concept car looked like, and now this is almost a concept to production. Lexus has gone out, you know, they've taken the bold step, you know, and I give them kudos for that. You know, it's something you don't see every day from a manufacturer. I mean, especially somebody as conservative as Lexus, you know, doing a design this bold in your face. You know, and as you know, it's not a sports car per se. It's more of a grand tour, you know, something to take on a weekend trip. You know, you don't have enough space in the trunk for a lot of luggage, so, you know, you can't go too far, obviously. But, you know, it's a beautiful grand tour that Lexus has to compete with something like the Mercedes-Benz SL or the BMW 6 Series Coupe.
What would you say separates this car from the others at this point?
Obviously visually.
Right.
Otherwise, you know, you have a Japanese automaker that's still making a natural aspirated V8. That's a pretty big kudos for Lexus. Same V8 that comes from like the RCF and the GSF 5.0 liter. And this configuration, of course, has made it to a 10-speed automatic transmission. It's interesting. It's more geared towards like efficiency, in my opinion. Of course, back here you've got the motorized spoiler. It raises around 52 miles per hour automatically, and he tracks, I imagine, like around 10 miles per hour or so as you come to a stop. 5.0 liter V8. Same engine from the RCF, GSF.
Same from the RCF.
Yeah, 471 horsepower, 389 foot-pounds of torque in the LC 500. Even the door handle, I mean, you know, it's kind of a page taken out of the F-Type, but a few manufacturers are using that now. Of course, with the Lexus, you can lock it by pushing the door handle down. It'll lock. And of course, unlocking, push this side, it's unlocked.
Yeah.
You can pull it open, and there you go.
And as soon as you open the door, the luxury experience begins here, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Even the lock symbol on the door handle here lights up green when the door is locked. Well, even though I'm a bigger guy, I mean, sitting in this, it's actually very comfortable for me. The inserts, they grip you pretty good. It has seat ventilation, of course, seat heating.
What do you think of the steering on this car?
Oh man, the steering is amazing. I guess that's one aspect, driving aspect that I'm surprised with. You have the rear wheels do steering also in a couple degrees. Might be up to like 3 degrees. You can actually see them turn. And I'll actually show you guys the wheel turning. You know, it's pretty amazing. It virtually shortens the wheelbase of the car. It makes it feel like a short wheelbase car, you know, maneuvering around parking lots. And of course, at highway speeds, they turn the opposite direction, so you have more of a lateral scoot across the interstate. It's a beautiful interior. I mean, the accenting colors. You know, the LFA inspired dashboard. The gauge cluster there. Steering wheel, pretty small steering wheel, leather wrapped, heated. You got your heads up display. My only gripe with the Lexus, like the new Lexus vehicles, and especially this one, the LC 500, is of course the infotainment system. I'm sure you guys have heard anybody who's read about or watched videos on the LC 500 or some of the new Lexus vehicles. You know, a lot of the journalists have issues with the infotainment system, but it has a beautiful screen. It's like a little over 12-inch screen. It's 12.3 inch, I believe. High resolution, but my only gripe is this is kind of distracting using the touchpad. It's a force feedback touchpad. Of course, you can adjust that force feedback, but as far as navigating some of the menus and stuff like that, you know, it's kind of cumbersome in a way. I mean, especially like going to the climate system, which you have a few physical controls here, but if you want to turn on your seat heater or seat ventilation, you know, you're gonna have to go through this embedded menu to actually get to that. You know, I mean, it kind of distracts from your whole driving experience. You know, just going here and, you know, selecting this, going up, you know, in the seat ventilation. You know, it's
if you're driving
kinda,
a car, it's got multiple layers for you to get to certain
it's
functions,
kind
right?
of counterintuitive in my opinion. Hopefully Lexus will, you know, take some notes from us, you know, talking about this and bring back the touchscreen. You know, it'd be nice if there's a screen a little bit closer to the driver.
Yeah.
You know, a touchscreen interface. You know, in a way, they can actually keep the same interface that they have with the touchpad. You know, if they made it a touch screen, you know, interact, you know, just touching it, you know, just like you do on your smartphone. That'd be a much easier thing than just digging through some of these menus. You know, make some of the menus more simplistic, in my opinion. But as far as some of the physical controls, you know, you do have a volume knob here, you know, your media.
That's a good thing today, right? Having a knob.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the interior is very well laid out. You know, you do have that LFA-inspired look here across the dashboard. Your drive mode control up here. It does have a customized mode, which you can customize, which is a good thing. I wish more car makers would do this in separating your powertrain setting, your chassis setting, and your climate, of course. The gauge cluster does change, just like the LFA did.
Yeah.
Of course, you get some F-Sport vehicles in the Lexus lineup. They do this exact same thing, change according to your drive mode.
Okay, so we're gonna go for a little test drive. Sounds great.
Yeah, it's a pretty good sounding car. You know, with the naturally aspirated V8, it's always a good thing to have a naturally aspirated V8, in my opinion. You know, everything's going forced induction now, but go figure. Lexus, a Japanese car company, it's kept the naturally aspirated V8 around. This 10-speed does shift pretty fast. It's very smooth. I really have no complaints about it, other than, you know, the top gears being more of a after effect as far as being on the efficient side of things, you know, making you stretch the MPGs. I'm in 6th gear right now. I mean, can technically leave it in 6th gear, you know, traveling on a road like this all day long. I'm never going to hit 10th gear, 9th gear for that matter. I put it in Sport Plus and just do a little takeoff here.
Oh, that was excellent.
Not bad.
Sounds great. Sounds great. Well, you feel it's a heavy car, like to your point.
Yeah. That is a time you do feel the weight of the car, you know.
And suspension, we're in Sport Plus though, right?
We are.
Doesn't feel too bad.
Yeah, it's not too bad in Sport Plus, which the adaptive dampers, I believe, have 3 different modes, a comfort, normal, and a sport mode. Of course, in Sport Plus, it takes the dampers to sport mode, which still isn't a really harsh ride at all. I mean, it's still a Lexus, you know, and if that means anything to, you know, you guys watching.
So it would be your Sport Plus with a Lexus twist to it. A Lexus Sport Plus, right?
Yep, absolutely. And hitting 10th gear, as you notice, the RPM is right at 1500, going 74 miles per hour. Very low. Like I said, more efficient side. It takes a little bit of time to upshift. It doesn't do that all the time. Sometimes it seems the computer's already sorted things out and they'll pop into the proper gear, you know, immediately. But in this case, I'm cruising at 51 miles per hour. I'm gonna lay into the throttle. You know, at that time it hit the right gear right away. But I've noticed at certain other speeds, maybe 70 miles per hour on the interstate, you know, I stomp on the throttle, you know, it'll take a second, it'll jump one, a couple gears and then a couple more gears. But then again, you got 10 gears to do, you know, sort through. So that's a lot, you know, you're asking a lot from the computer. Fuel consumption numbers, 16 miles per gallon city, 26 highway. The turn is very sharp, you know, going around, you know, corners at low speed. You know, you really do feel that rear steering. And of course, you gotta love that ground of the V8. I mean, come on. It's funny driving this. It's starting to feel kind of slow, I guess you could say. In a way, I'm kind of a letdown a little bit. Yeah. I don't know.
Think it's the weight?
Yeah, I think so. The weight is really showing, and then now that I'm finally driving it a little bit, you know, you have a new generation of people that you know, they grown up on forced induction now. You You know, it's automotive golden age right now. We have so much to choose from.
It's interesting, right?
We have Hellcats and Demons. You know,
the names, right?
The twin turbo monsters. You know, the
right.
GTS, the Mercedes AMG GTS, GTR, Nissan GTR. You know, you have so much stuff to choose from now. It's really a good time to be alive.
It is, right? People talk about the '90s being the heyday for some of the.
Absolutely.
You think there's a comeback happening slowly in some of these cars, or?
I think so. You know, you still have some purist inspiration going on in some of the makes. You know, with some of the cars.
Oh yes. There you go.
Yeah. And you still can do burnouts like that, you know. So hey, it's not a bad thing.
And you're always gonna surprise people because they don't expect it out of a Lexus.
Yeah, know? Exactly. Exactly. You know.
Ooh. What do you guys think of the interior? Go ahead and open the door.
Check it out. Yeah, open up. There you go.
Oh. That's sweet.
Yeah, hop in.
Carbon fiber.
Really? Yeah, hop in, man. Go ahead. Yeah. Here, I'll let the hood down so you get the nice look.
Oh.
Now, this is a whip.
Does it feel luxurious?
Very.
You feel special in there? It feels special, doesn't it?
More special than my truck. Like, damn. So leg room in the back seat. A lot of heads-up display.
Heads-up display.
That's awesome. Paddle shifters.
It's a pretty car. How does the seat feel? Comfortable?
Very sporty. Yeah. Bolstered in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. It feels pretty good, huh?
Yeah. I love it.
You guys ever come out to Cars and Coffee?
Should come out of Cars and Coffee. Automotive Addicts.
Yeah.
All right.
Here, I run it.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Check it out sometime.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Take care, guys.
Yep.